It's time for another fun hot sauce making adventure. I'm excited. If you can see right behind me, right here is our amazing, beautiful garden, and we are producing lots and lots of peppers, serranos, there's jalapeños, poblanos, green bells. So it's time to start making hot sauce. This year we are selling hot sauce at some local farmers markets, which I'm kind of excited about. Getting the Deep South Foodies name out there, being some boots on the street. But we got to make some hot sauce to be able to sell. So I'm super excited about this. This is about a 30-30-30-10 ratio. It's kind of the best way to look at it. And that's for a gallon size jar. Now, don't worry, I've got everything in the links down below as far as all the items that you need, but I'll walk through them real quick. So this is a 1 gallon mason jar. You want to make sure you get the one with the fermenting lock on the top. We do have links in the descriptions down below for 1 quart jar. So if you just want to make 4 or 5 bottles at a time, you'll be able to do that through that quart size. Next thing we're going to need is a small scale. Nothing too major, just something to read a little bit of numbers, because we're going to have to make our salt solution by weight. Glass weights, I use these to anchor everything down, make sure it's down below the water line. Super important, that way nothing sits on top and gets fermented on top. Next, again, I keep saying important, but still hyper important, is our food grade hydrogen peroxide. That is what we have used to scrub out, clean, and sanitize. This is a concentrate, so we've used a spray bottle to go around and spray it. And then after that, just a good chef's knife, cutting board, and distilled water. I know lots of people commented in on the distilled water on the last video when we made our Mississippi fire. Bow, gloves, muy importante, fellas. You don't want to be doing this project and going to the bathroom. So again, we're working on a ratio more so than when we think about traditional weights. This ratio is 30% poblanos, 30% jalapeños, 30% serranos, and the last 10%, and really for color, we're going to have bell peppers. Now, we're not wanting to add any of the seeds. We do have a little bit of chop work to do. The seeds add bitter oils, and I'm not really into having all that bitter oil in our stuff, so I like to split. So we'll start with our jalapeños first. Kind of go through and I just split, and then I'll come back and get all the seeds. If you see any imperfection spots, a lot of, again, it depends on the severity of it. Sometimes if it's just a little outside skin one, I'll just cut it off. Now, if it's like fuzzy mold, obviously that would not be a prime candidate to put inside. Just get as much of these seeds out as we can. The name of this hot sauce and what we call it is called the Green Machine. Again, it's a medium heat. Most of my hot sauces tend to be in that medium range. This year, though, we will be breaking that. Behind us, we have Pepper X and Carolina Reapers growing. So we will be joining the depths of the spice world. If you got a good name, that would be for a super, super hot spicy sauce. Make sure you leave it in the description down below. But this one has been called Green Machine the last 2 years. I needed an outlet for all the peppers that I have. The only thing that sometimes I'll supplement in is serranos don't always do good in this climate. A lot of times they do great. Obviously, we're off to a great start this year, but it's not always that fortunate. Habaneros do. And so we might sub the serranos for habaneros, but because it's only 30%, it doesn't really jack the heat up too much. And so it's overall stays pretty consistent throughout the year. We don't have to be perfect. You know, if a few seeds get in, it's not a big deal. But we're just going to give a rough chop. We kind of want it to be about all the same size so they ferment evenly. All right, now let's move on to some serranos. Right about 30%. I'm not jam packing them in there. Really depends on the thickness and consistency that you're going for. Now, poblanos do not add a whole lot of heat, really, if anything, nothing at all. But they are going to help us add color, a nice, deep, rich color. They also have a stronger vegetal taste to them, in my opinion, which kind of gives it just a little bit more balance to the hot sauce. It's got to make sure that our hot sauce does not taste processed, if that's a thing. Like, I want it to, you know, taste like it's a vegetable and it came off a farm, like it had life, you know? So having something like a poblano is going to really give it that richness that we're looking for. What I really like about these peppers is, when we made the Mississippi Fire a couple weeks ago, there was, kind of blemishes everywhere. There's a little bit that I'm kind of butchering out, but overall, it's crazy the quality difference from when not that there's anything against the local market, but there is just such a quality difference when you grow it yourself. All right, so for the last 10%, we're going to add in our bells. And don't worry about the waste. The waste in my kitchen is easily accepted. The chickens absolutely love hot sauce days. Really take all of those leftovers, the seeds and all, and they're able to have a super nutritious lunch with all the leftover bits. And especially when you're using all reds, it really does affect the color of their yolk. So it makes almost like a deep red yolk, kind of getting up close to the top there. We're gonna let that be because we need room for the water and the air. All right, now we need garlic. All I'm needing to do is just remove the skin as much as I can. I kind of like the garlic whole. It doesn't break down too much. And I'm pretty much going to use this whole clove. I really like that garlic taste in my hot sauce. Really adds just that umami, if you will, for all you food nerds that are out there like me. Culinary school in 2005, I don't think the word umami existed. Now it's every food person loves to say it. You can't get through an episode of Food Network without hearing the word umami. It's so funny. It's funny how, like, culinary wise, like, we pick up words, and I'm sure it was a thing before, 2005, but it was not like a buzzword. Now, there's a couple ways we can do this. We could pre-measure out our water, put it at 2.5%, and do it that way. Or we could get an exact measurement, which was what we're going to do. And it's a little bit barbaric. I showed you guys last time we made hot sauce, but it always turns out pretty spot on. So it's where we need it to be. So now, I'm gonna drain it out. Let's measure our bowl first. And this is by weight, not by volume. Now the whisk, so all those granules are 100% broken down. We don't want any salt granules left. This salt is very, very important. So according to our fancy calculator, that's going to put us at 1.8 ounces of salt that we need, and that'll put us at a 2.5. So what I did is just converted it from 4 pounds, 7 ounces times that by the amount of ounces, so times 16, and then basically times that by 0.025. So this salt water is going to act as a protector to these peppers. That salt water allows the good bacteria to thrive, and it's going to kill any bad bacteria that was maybe lingering in the peppers or maybe in the container itself, which again, hopefully did a good cleaning job. But just in case, that salt water is going to give us a great barrier protection for our hot sauces. Now it is time to cap it off. Make sure that your hot sauce has that seal inside there that's going to help it stay nice and tight. We need to make sure we got a little bit of water in our airlock. Again, this is going to make sure that all of that good stuff stays down in here, and then all of the air can escape that needs to escape. What you don't want to have happen is just lock in a glass jar like this with no airlock on side of it. Essentially, this will turn into a bomb inside of your kitchen. As that air expands, this is going to start to ferment, and as it's fermenting, it's going to be creating carbon dioxide. And that carbon dioxide has got to get released through that airlock, or it essentially creates a pressure bomb that is going to explode. And it is not fun. I've actually had it to where the airlock just wasn't set right. And I've had one of these glass mason jars to literally just right in the middle of my kitchen. Not a good afternoon. But we did forget one thing, though, and I'm sitting here on the table and looking at them. And that is our our glass weights. Again, these have been sanitized down in our pH liquid. I always typically put 2 in there, and I kind of really push it in there. I push that garlic up underneath them. I really want that garlic to stay away from that oxygen, or else that will oxidize. And then there we go. Now we are locked up, good to go. We've got our airlock. We will not touch this for at least 5 days. We'll start to check the pH. A pH meter will last a long ways. We've got to get this to below a 3.2 in pH. That will make it shelf stable. Typically, we take it down into the upper twos. The last batch was a 2.98. I've gotten it as low as a 2.7. And that allows it for it to be shelf stable. So we can ball it up in our little bottles, seal them up, and they're going to be good for eternity. So now is the hardest part of this video, and that is that we're going to have to wait to the next video. So we will record this out and make sure you stick around, because on Friday, that means we'll have the conclusion to this video. And I know this is going to turn out to be a super delicious hot sauce. So do not miss out. If you haven't had the chance yet, make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss that. And I've got 2 amazing sets of playlists here. I've got one. This is the video that YouTube says, you viewer, this is the one you need to watch. And if not, I've got my own set of things that I think you should watch. And that one is right here. This is the barbecue that we're going to be putting this delicious hot sauce on. So for now, I'm going to catch you later. Thank you for hanging out at Deep South Foodies. It's always a pleasure to come out here and cook and hang out and share. Again, share my garden, my farm, and ultimately recipes throughout the South. My name is Jonathan Boyd. This is Deep South Foodies, and we